Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Season. I'm Tyler, and I'm talking about Spy X Family today. Spy X Family, fantastic. I will say that I did read the manga for this one, or I guess I still am. The manga hasn't ended. Very excited when they announced the anime, and very excited when I actually started watching it. I think this is a very good adaptation of the manga, and I'm glad other people are liking it too. But let's talk a little bit about the first season. Why not? There's a second season coming out. They've already announced there's like a second core or whatever. But we're just talking about the first one today. Couple things I want to touch on. I do want to touch on how they all have their secrets, and how I love that each one, again, like has their own secrets and like has a person who has a version of themselves that they're hiding from everyone else, because they feel that they have to. Now, in my mind, we'll see. I mean, in my mind, the one that doesn't really have to hide is Anya. Like, I feel like I don't think that Lloyd or Yor would care. Like, I honestly think they would think that's awesome. But anyway, we'll get into it. And then I also want to touch on Anya just trying her best. There's a few moments I want to mention where you can tell that Anya, not great, just for their natural ability, but she is trying and she does really care. And just because she is like one of the best anime characters ever made, she's awesome. But yeah, let's get into it. Like I said, I want to start with the main chunk right here, which is them all having their secrets, and that's what kind of builds up what the show is. So we'll start with Lloyd. Lloyd is a spy, right? He's got Operation Strix, which is the East and the West, how they are gonna go to a war or whatever. And they have to bring peace, and it is Lloyd's job to do this. He has to infiltrate to get to a certain person. I forget what it's Damien, right? Damien's father will kind of help him lead everything to peace, and he has to get it through having a fake child and a fake wife, and it kind of spirals from there, right? So he needs a child and a wife for the mission, which is crazy because he has to fake it. But because he doesn't have time to actually fall in love and be with someone organically and then have a child. Like, it's just too long. So he just kind of picks up Anya from the orphanage, which is terrible decision, honestly. On paper, well, not even on paper. I guess on paper it's a great decision, because if he knew that she was telepathic, it'd be fantastic. But Anya herself, like her own abilities, very subpar on just every front. And then he has to get Yor, which works out because Yor was also looking for somebody, to avoid suspicion, because they say that if a woman does not have a husband by a certain age, then there must be a reason, and the reason must be that she is secretly a spy, because spies usually they usually don't have significant others, right? So, so that was kind of an easy grab for Lloyd, because she was relatively desperate, and we'll get more into your side in a second, but all in all, it kind of worked out for him. Hanging on the more spy elements of this, he does briefly suspect Yor of being somebody, possibly being with the SSS, possibly trying to uproot his plans, Operation Strix, all that stuff. Mostly because her brother is SSS. SSS is the organization that its job is to take down spies, right? Because spies are evil. They're evil people. I'm sure it's all perspective. And, so that was a tough moment, because that was the most delicate that he's ever had to be, because he's never really used his spy powers against Anya or Yor before. Like, he's only really ever helped. Like, he's tried to help Anya, like apologize to Damien. He's tried to help her, with just like schoolwork and stuff. And then with Yor, like, he always covers for certain things that, being a wife, she may not be that great at or whatever, right? But this is the first time where he really he suspected Yor, and he was like, I got a bug her. I have to put a bug on her. I'm going to follow her all day. I'm going to use me and my friend, who I don't remember his name right now. We're just going to say his name is Ralphie. That might be his name, it might not be. We're gonna dress up and we're gonna act like we're SSS, you know. So it's a very tough moment, I'm sure, for him. But it is his job as being a spy. Like, he has to do these things, because on the off chance that Yor was trying to ruin it, mission comes first, right? It's always how it is. And then lastly, when it comes to Lloyd, he plans the aquarium trip for his family's image, but also for a penguin mission. So that's another really tough decision for him, because he realizes that his spyness is getting too in the way. Other people are suspecting things, not that he's a spy, but that other stuff, right? Like infidelity, right? Because he's never home. He feels that they have a perspective that Yor and Anya might not be getting the fatherly figure, the husband figure that they need in their lives to be a nice family. And he has to what's the word I'm looking for? Squash that, because if there's any sort of suspicion about him at all, any attention is bad attention, right? That's kind of his thing, is that you want to be a ghost, you want to be a shadow when you're a spy. And even little things like this, we don't need any extra attention on any front. So he goes to an aquarium to kind of say fatherly, husbandly, all that stuff. Unfortunately, there's a penguin mission where they put like a bomb or something in a penguin, or maybe it was just like a USB or something, just like, transporting info from one place to another. And so that sucks, because there's a lot of the time in the aquarium trip where he's not there, but he does clean it up in the end. Both with some actions with a huge giant penguin, which is comically big in comparison to Anya, but then also with his words, right? With him talking about what it means to be a husband and a father, and how he's not perfect, but he's trying, all that stuff. So I think it is nice. One last thing I want to touch on when it comes to Lloyd is that within this first season, I think you can even see him breaking his shell a little bit, where it does start with strictly a mission. I'm getting a child with a specific age that is the most efficient. I'm getting a wife that can be there for me and just be a wife, just a cardboard cutout for the most part, when it comes to my mission. But as the time goes on, you can see little twinkles in his eyes, where I think he is starting to actually care for these two people. He's starting to care for Yor. He's starting to care for Anya, because there's certain things that he does. He doesn't have to. Doesn't have to say certain things. Doesn't have to comfort them in certain ways. He doesn't have to, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff that he does have to do as a husband and a father to keep the image. But even when it comes to Yor, like, Yor knows that the relationship is fake. So there's certain things that he does and says as a husband doesn't have to do, because Yor, like, they have an understanding that this is not a real relationship. They don't actually love each other, but he does. He does these things. He says these things, to comfort her and to, so just stuff like that makes me think that, at least throughout the first season, we are seeing that he is starting to care. And, I don't know if it's ever going to get to the point where, me trying to be coy, because like I said, I did read the manga, so just me, trying to put myself in the mind of just the first season, me just using my knowledge of the first season, first episode to the, was it 12 episodes this season, 13 episodes, just putting myself in that mindset for a second. I don't know if it's ever going to get, actually get to the point where Lloyd loves them, and he's like, dang, like I love them, and like, is that going to interfere with his mission at all? Is that going to, we can get to a point where he says, nah, like, for real, I want you to be my wife, I don't know. But moving on from Lloyd, we're going to go to Yor. Yor is an assassin, right? And not only an assassin, she is the best assassin. She is a demon in all the best ways. And she's also best girl. Definitely of the show. Well, I guess she's fighting with Anya. Two very different types of races they're running. But she needs a husband to avoid suspicion, right? I already kind of touched on that. Like I said, there's this rumor or whatever that, well, if you don't have a husband by a certain age, there must be a reason. The only reason that we can think of is that you're a spy, because spies can't have husbands or wives, because they're spies and they have missions and they travel and they can't have families, all that stuff. And so Yor, to avoid suspicion, is like, I need to get a husband. Not only so that the people around me don't suspect anything, but also so the SSS doesn't come knocking on my door. And also, I'm an assassin, so if they did do digging, they wouldn't find I'm a spy. But I'm probably not gonna get away with murder. All the murders I've done. So an amazing moment of the show is that she drunkenly fights Lloyd in their little reenactment to kind of make to make Anya happy, right? Because Anya did a good thing. So they wanted to, she wanted them to be in like basically a spy movie, right? And that was very nice because Yor was just going all in, and we saw how strong and capable she is, and I was like, yes, Yor is awesome. So that was great. If they fought for real, I don't know who would win. Like honestly, Yor might kill, Lloyd if she ever had to. Another moment is that she saves Anya from being kidnapped and teaches her self-defense. That was a very nice motherly moment where people were trying to kidnap Anya because of her clothing. They knew that she went to that very prestigious school, and they were like, "Oh man, she's rich, so for ransom, we can probably get a little pretty penny, But Yor just destroys them, absolutely destroys them, makes them look like fools, and then decides to teach her self-defense to be like, hey, this is something I'm good at, Because throughout the show, we see she's not like a great mom in like the most stereotypical sense, where she can't cook, just kind of stuff like that, like cleaning, whatever, I don't know. But like, she's like, oh, this is something I'm good at. Like I can fight, I can protect myself, I can teach Anya to protect herself as well. So that's nice, And then she once again saves Anya from being kidnapped at the aquarium this time, right? Which isn't true. Like the first time she was definitely being kidnapped. Second time, Anya grabbed on to this man's coat because she used her telepathic powers to know that he was a bad guy. So again, I don't want to make it sound like the only thing that Yor is good for is her fists, but those are the funniest moments because it is, I guess it's not really fair, but it's intentional, where it's like Yor is a woman who is not like a super buff, like ripped, jacked human being, but she's powerful, like she's powerful to her core, and I love that for her. I love that she is very capable, and I think both, like not only physically but also mentally. I do think she's a very strong character. She does have her own self-doubts, but I think everyone does. Not only in anime but in life. You always have your one or two things that you're self-conscious about or whatever, and that's why I think that her and Lloyd are perfect for each other, because Lloyd has those too. Lloyd is Twilight, right? He's the perfect spy, but there are things that he sometimes second guesses, things that he struggles with. So I think it's nice. And then we get to Anya, who is a telepath, right? She feels that she can't tell anyone she's a telepath because they'll think she's a freak, I guess, and like Lloyd and Yor will like disown her and bring her back to the orphanage or bring her to the government, and they'll dissect her or something. On the outside looking in, I think that's very stupid. Like I think clearly a spy and an assassin family, that would be so cool, and I highly doubt, like there's a 0.1% chance that if Anya told them that she was a telepath, and she would obviously be able to prove it, that they would be like, ew, gross. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they would have that reaction. But when you contextualize it and you see that, you realize that, oh, Anya is like 5 years old, so like of course she would think that, because she's a dumb 5-year-old brain, where her imagination runs wild, and so in her mind all that makes complete sense. But in the real world, that no, like they wouldn't act that way, but there's no telling her that, and some stuff she does, she helps find the purse thief, she's able to like pinpoint, like Professor X. She's able to pinpoint what the thief is thinking, and like, oh yeah, I'm stealing the purse. It's like, oh well, clearly it's that guy. She uses her powers to dodge Bill's throws. That was an intense. That might be. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely one of my favorite episodes of the season, which is the dodgeball episode. It's fantastic, and I love how she just so coolly dodges all of his rocket-armed, powered throws. It's awesome. And then she finds the drowning kid. You know, she's able to hear that someone is drowning, and she jumps in after. Very stupid, very dumb, because she can't swim. But very noble, and like again, it's a way to like use her powers, you know, and kind of running on the theme of Lloyd and, you know, Yor a little bit more so, you know, like I've already mentioned, where they have their self-doubts, you know, especially when it comes to who they really are. Anya's no different. You know, Anya has never liked her powers because she feels that, I mean, the like scheming kid part of her loves them because, you know, there's ways that she can get things that she wants, but there's another part of her that doesn't like them, and she does feel like she's a freak, and she does feel like she has to hide a part of herself in front of the people that she loves, you know. And there's also times that her powers have gotten her in trouble, you know. So like, especially this moment where she saves a drowning kid, she finally realizes that she can use her powers to do good things. They can be a positive part of who she is. And that's a huge moment of growth for her, you know, because it gives her some self-confidence. You know, again, she's not great at everything she does, and we'll get into that in a second. But for there to be parts of herself that she now accepts is amazing, you know, and like it can only help her in the future. It can only help her. But speaking of Anya, let's talk about the other thing I wanted to talk about, which is Anya trying her best. You know, aside from the things we've already talked about, I got some more. She does pass the initial entrance exam. You know, I'm sure not an easy thing to at least get considered to go into this school. So that's awesome, right? She's not completely worthless. Murdoch Swan makes her cry in the interview. One of the toughest moments in the whole show. Like it was in that moment where every Spy X Family viewer was like, "Oh, we hope Lloyd or Yor or both murder this man, because why is he being so mean? Why is he pinpointing on things that are obviously soft spots for her? Like being like, oh well, who do you love more, your real mom or Yor?" And it's like, what? How do you ask a child that? That's a ridiculous question. How do you ask a child? And then she starts crying her eyes out. And then to jump off of Anya for a hot second, we have both in their minds, like Lloyd and Yor are furious, you know? Like Yor is more of like an upset furious because she also has her own self-doubts about like being a mom, and like, you know, because she's been given a story by Lloyd and Anya about like, you know, them having a mom, not having the mom anymore, all that stuff. So like that hits home for her because she's like, oh man, now I'm like consciously comparing myself to Anya's previous mother. Like, will I ever live up to that? Like, will Anya love me? Like all that stuff. But Lloyd is just furious, which is one of the first moments that we see Lloyd having a heart and like really caring, because he didn't have to. He could have brushed it off, right? Anya's not really my daughter. Like it's a very evil, honestly evil thing to do, to ask a question like that. But she's not my daughter. I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna brush off the question, and I'm gonna get him to move forward, because if anything, this is a nuisance. You know, Anya is clearly not gonna be able to answer this question. It's only holding up the interview. Let's keep rolling. But he didn't do that. He was going to murder. He was straight up going to murder this man, but he didn't. He had a little bit of self-constraint, and he punched. He obliterated the little coffee table thing in front of them, and he made him an excuse about there being a mosquito and, you know, malaria, whatever. But like, he was furious, and he ended the interview. He was like, "That's it. We're done for today. You know, nope. I don't care anymore." Like, he sacrificed Operation Strix for this. Because of that outburst, and because of also them just abruptly leaving the interview, they could have not let Anya in, and then he would have had to find another way. I don't know. That could have been it for Yor and Anya. They could have been like, all right, family's not working out. We're gonna, I'm gonna leave them. I'm gonna find some way else to, bring peace. Or he could have, you know what I mean? Like there's harsh consequences for that, but that was an emotional thing. And kind of jumping back to Anya, like she did her best to answer the question as best she could. Like she gave a good answer. It was really only until Murdoch Swan tried to delve deeper and try to, like a lion hunting a gazelle. Like, ridiculous, dude, ridiculous. But moving on from that, moving on from the very sad and evil moments of Anya's life, she punches Damien. Very funny, and she uses a lot of power. Like she did learn some techniques from her assassin mother, and she punched the just the socks. She rocked his socks. You know what I mean? Which was hilarious. She later did apologize to Damien, which was very nice, because obviously for Lloyd's mission, but also like Anya's a good person. I think Anya wants to be friends with everybody, especially with her childhood, where it's like people probably stayed away from her, but Damien does reject her. So again, she's just trying her best, man. She's just trying her best. Like, she apologized in probably a super, super, super heartfelt way. But it was like too good of an apology that like Damien couldn't accept it because of his own bubbling feelings for Anya. We have another sweet moment where she falls asleep studying. This is a moment where Lloyd, thinks that he was too hard on her, and she like stormed off into her room. But in fact, well, yes, he was kind of hard on her. She went to her room to study by herself and to try to help Lloyd with his mission that he doesn't know that she knows that he has. But it's a very sweet moment where it's like, again, like she's not good at school. And from what we've seen in these 13 episodes, she's not getting better. Like, she's getting like better by slivers, But like, she is trying. Like, she really is trying. In the Dragon Ball episode, she has and the Dragon Ball episode, I've already given it away. In the Dodgeball episode, she has a Dragon Ball-esque build-up where it's like, oof, how much budget did they give this studio for it to be this convoluted, only to fail miserably. Like, we thought for a second we were like, oh man, it's all gonna come together. It's all gonna come together. She's gonna wipe the floor with this Bill character. She's gonna punch a hole through his chest with the dodgeball. And she did everything right, 90% there. Her aim could just use a little work. It was just her aim, Fails. Bill hits her with the dodgeball, loses. But still, in that moment, again, we're seeing growth. Again, we are seeing passion. We are seeing determination from Anya. The only thing I want to talk about is her being very bad at volunteering. She's not good at cleaning. She's not good at serving food. She's not good at organizing. She can't stay focused. But she does want to do it. Volunteering probably not so much, but like, she does understand the implications, and I think deep down she is a good person. And that is, there's an exclamation point on that, where, like I said, I already mentioned, she did save a kid from drowning, so like she does have her moments, I think that is what Lloyd is realizing, where she is not going to earn her Stella Stars in the traditional sense. Now, she can't just save 10 people from death. Because, like Lloyd said, that would get suspicious, and I do like, just from a writing perspective, I like that's how that was explained, because I'm sure from a reader and a viewer perspective, it's like, oh yeah, we'll just have her save a bunch of people, but, they try to cover up that plot hole where it's like, oh, well, they can't do that because a school like this, like after she saves her second, third, fourth person from death, it's going to be like, what's going on here? Why is Anya always saving people? There's already some foul rumors about her being the one that pushed him in the pool to save him. But there's gonna be some stuff. There's gonna be some suspicions. So we can't just do that. But again, like I said, I do like that he's learning that there's gonna be some other ways that we're gonna have her earn her Stella stars, and I'm excited to see the other ways. And yeah, that is it. That is Spy X Family Season 1, because we do know now there is a Season 2 coming out. Very excited for that. I think it's just later this year. I think that was maybe for fall. I think that was confirmed. It's going to come out fall, so that's fun. But yeah, let me know what you thought of Season 1, whether you are a anime viewer or you have read the manga just like I have. Let me know what your favorite character is, and let me know if you think Anya is ever going to get better at school. And also how you think she's going to earn her other Stella stars. Because that's cool. And yeah, until next time, let us all patiently wait for the second core of Spy X Family. Please go check out other cartoon season episodes I have. All the ways that you can do that are in the description of this episode, as always. Go check out my other content, which is I do some reactions, normally to animation related things, and also do gameplays, which are very fun. And yeah, until next time, let's all watch more anime, watch more cartoons, and let me know what other anime cartoons you want to have me discuss.